last session we had an introduction about messaging, correct?
Messaging, yes.
Can you please tell me what do you know about that?
So if you want to send any messages to some external system like billing center, claim center, right? Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, we go for messaging. Like if there any business data changing, like or the new uh, data is added, which is triggering that messaging, right? So we have the three types of messaging, like message table, and message history, and message context. So whenever the message is triggering, right, it will go into the messaging table, and once it is processed and acknowledged, and it will remove from the message table and will go to the messaging history table.
Perfect. Great.
And
Yeah.
message context, I think a rule set will be coming, right? We can write in the rule event. We can assign entity to the message contest.
Yeah, correct. Okay. So today we will see a complete flow. Okay. Today we will see a complete flow. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah. First of all, what is called a message? Messages are notification to external system. Correct?
Yes.
It is non and say asynchronous. Asynchronous is the right word. Then, if for example, in case of web services or plugins, you can transfer one-to-one messages, correct? But in
Yes.
case of messaging, you can do bulk messages.
Okay.
Okay, that is what the that is what messaging. Okay? The fourth important point is it is event based. What do you mean by event based? We have already discussed on this. Can you try to recall?
So message we can write an event using the rule set, right? Rule.
Not
Uh,
even. We can achieve only through rules. Okay. Why
okay.
we can achieve through rules? What is meant by event based? Event based is nothing but whenever there is a change. That's
Change
what we
in
saw,
entity.
right? New
Yes.
or change in business data.
Data. Yes.
Okay. By default, an event will be triggered.
Okay.
Okay. An event will be triggered. Once it
Trigger.
triggered, what will happen? A message will be created. Then create an entry in message table. Okay. So then what will happen? It will process in event fire rules where it creates, or you can say generates payload. Okay. Then what will happen? Call the send method. Okay. In message transport plugin. Then what will do? It will update or send the payload to the external system. Then what it will do? It will acknowledge or throw here. Okay. To achieve this, I will explain you all this. Okay. To achieve
Okay.
this, we need entity message
Context.
message message history and message context. Then plugins message request message transport, which is mandatory, and message reply. Okay, the other two are optional. Then we will fire then messaging. Okay, clear?
Okay.
I'm sending this to you. Okay. Yeah. So what we need to do, this is called message flow. Okay.
Yes.
First of all, if you want to send a message, what you have to do? Okay. So if
Okay.
anybody asks you messaging, you have to explain this. Okay.
Okay.
Hmm. So okay, what is mean by event based? Event based means what is generally an event? What
Some
is
action,
generally an
right?
event?
It,
An event can be anything, right? Like,
anything.
yes, you
Yeah.
are telling, right? An action. An
Action.
action can be either saving a data or updating a data or
Something.
deleting a data.
Yeah.
Okay, why not fetching a data? Because when you fetch, Guidewire always prefers read only. We saw it in bundle, correct?
Yes.
In Gosu bundles, we saw that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
When query, the data will be always in read only.
Read only.
Okay, so an event is nothing but just an event. Event means you are changed business data. Okay, so whenever there is a change in event, what will happen by default, and the event fire rule will trigger it. When it triggers, it calls create message method. Okay, this is just a synopsis. Okay, when I explain you each and every process, I will explain you more. Okay,
Okay.
so in last session I sent you steps or stages, right? This is the 4 stages. Okay, first, what does mean by triggering a message? How a message will trigger? When you do any event, a message will be
Event.
triggered automatically. But sometimes we can also induce a message. Okay, I will tell you all that. First, okay, can you please explain me how a messaging processing? Okay, if you want to send a message from you to me, what you will do?
Mm. We need to create some. When we need to
No,
send that
don't go
message.
to Guidewire. Don't go to Guide. You want to
Okay.
send a message to me. What do you do?
Yeah. I will
You open
be.
WhatsApp and
Yeah.
send a hi to me, correct?
Send. Yes.
Same way, if Guidewire Policy Center,
Okay.
if Guidewire Policy Center want to send a message to Billing Center, it
Billing center.
needs to be an event need to be triggered. Okay, how the event will be triggered? It makes sure the entity is event aware. Then
Yes.
it triggers an event. How it triggers, there is a method called add event. Can you see?
Yes.
If you call add event, an event will be triggered in the event fire rule. Okay,
Okay.
but
Oh,
okay, this we can call these are external events. Okay,
okay.
by default, Guidewire is having out of the box. Do you know what is out of the box? Which is coming from the product. Okay,
Product.
Guidewire is
Yes.
having its own events. Okay, which are
Hmm.
nothing but add or edit or remove. When you do these three, you don't need to excuse me.
Externally call
Okay. For example,
event.
you have to create a policy. Okay.
Yes.
When you bind the policy, you don't require to call an event. Okay. By default, the event will be triggered. Okay, clear?
Yes.
But when you bind the policy, you want to trigger documents. Then
Okay.
ex you have to explicitly call the documents event. Okay.
Okay.
Did you find what is the difference between these two?
Yes.
When you bind a policy, you have to trigger two events. Okay. One is document generation. The second is policy flowing to policy center to billing. Okay,
Building.
where
Okay.
policy flowing from policy to billing are called out of the box events, because when you bind a policy, you are hitting the entity, correct? You are creating a
Yes.
new entity, correct?
Yeah.
So by default, it will trigger. But document creation is an explicit event you need to trigger. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. How do you have to trigger? You have to trigger by using the
Add
method
event.
add event. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Let's do like this. You created an entity, correct? Interaction underscore entity ext.
Yes.
Okay. Where in equal to interaction ext, correct? This is what the name of the entity, correct?
Yes.
Are you sure? Yes.
Yes.
Now int dot add event. Can you see why it is not coming? The add event method is not coming.
Yeah.
Okay,
There
let's
is
do.
no add event method, right, in the interaction.
Wait. Can you see add
Yes.
event
Yeah.
automatically coming, right?
Yeah. It is coming.
But why
Here it
here
is
it is
not
not
coming.
coming? Why? Okay, I
Not
will tell
there
you.
is.
Here, not an event aware entity. Okay, here it is an event aware. Okay, okay. What is mean by event aware? Okay, let me show you.
Okay. The contract.
Can you see a property called events here? I'll show you. Can you see a property called events?
Yes.
When you add, okay, now what I'll do, now I will add interaction. Here I will add event property. Okay.
Okay.
If you want, I can add new event. Okay. So what I will do, interaction add. Adding interactions. Okay, clear?
Yes.
Now if I restart my application, you will see a difference. You wait for 2 minutes.
Okay.
Can you see? Now it is not throwing any error. What is the difference? Why it is not throwing an error now?
Because we added in event entity, right?
We
Interaction
made the entity event
as
away.
event.
Okay. Can you see?
Yes.
So what difference we made? What difference
We
we
made
made? We add the event here, correct?
events. Yes.
So when you add an entity called event, which
Hmm.
means we are making the entity event aware. Why
Event
do
aware.
we have to make event aware? Okay. In validation, why do we make implements validatable?
Yeah, in order to trigger, right, that error message.
Ah, yes. Can you
Uh,
come again? Can you come again? You
so
have
we'll be
to
having
call.
the reject. We'll be once added in only. We'll be having the reject method.
Okay, see that I was telling you to understand. But
Yes.
only if you add implements validatable, then only that event will be hit. Okay, the
It.
rule will be
Yes.
hit. The
Yes.
same
Correct.
way here. Only when you add event, then only
Events.
event fire rule will get hit. Okay.
Okay.
See, you are correct. Only when you add validatable, the reject method will come. But
Yes.
conceptually, it is not the case. The case is if you add validatable, then only the respective validation rule will get hit. We have these
Okay.
validation rules, right?
Yes.
If you want to trigger these rules, you have to implement validatable. Same
Validatable. Yes.
way, if you want to trigger an event, you have to trigger, sorry, you have to add the event property. Okay?
Events.
If
Yes.
you are not adding any events, then what will happen? For all the event, it will hit. Okay. But if you specify any event like this, you have to call it explicitly. Okay.
Okay.
I will tell you that. I will tell you that. Okay. Now, are you clear how the message will be triggered?
Yes.
Okay. Let's reiterate. Okay. If you want to
Event.
trigger an event, what you have to do? Go to the respective entity.
Entity.
Okay.
I need to add the event.
Here the entities are different, not the message or message history. Okay. Because message history are involved only after you create the message. Here,
Message.
why
Correct.
we make the entity event aware? If you want to trigger an event for that, for example, if you want to trigger a message for a policy, you have to trigger an event in the policy entity or policy period entity. Okay,
Okay.
clear?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this here the entity should not be message or message history. Here the event is different. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Next, what are we doing? So we make the entity event aware. If you want an explicit event, you can right click and create event. Okay.
Event.
Clear, right? Till now?
So explicit. Okay. We need. If we do not add any event and just will adding
No, no, no,
events.
no. If you have any event other than add, edit, update, sorry, add, update, delete, though
Delete.
add, update, delete are implicit events. Okay.
Okay. Okay. By
Which
default, it
means
will.
by default, but if you want to trigger any event like document creation, or if you
Okay.
want to sync contact, can you see sync contact? Why do we have to sync contact? because, for example, contact will be across policy billing clients, correct? If you modify the
Yes.
contact, you have to sync the contact with contact manager. So people explicitly call the sync contact event. Okay.
Okay.
If you want to call an explicit event, how do you do? You have to call add
Add event.
event. Okay. You have to call add event method. Okay.
Event. Okay.
Clear?
For add, edit, and like update, no need to add, right? No need to
That I will come.
explicitly.
That I will come.
Okay.
Okay. Are you
Okay.
clear in the message creation?
Yes.
Okay. When you call add event, what will happen? It will start executing each and every event firewall. Okay.
Okay.
It will start all the events. Okay.
Okay.
But what will happen? You should not execute everything, right? Because
Everything,
it
right?
will lead
Yeah.
to performance. Because if,
Correct.
for example, if you want to add only bank account verification, why you have to
Mm.
run vendor recommendation or legal case or message generator? Not required, correct?
Yes.
So to avoid that, what we will do? Can you see? You have to match with the event name. Can you see?
Yes.
So
Match.
here you can match with. So what will happen? Only for the respective event it will get triggered. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's come from that where we stop. Okay. So first of all, if you want to create a messaging, okay, you are clear till this, right? How the message has been created. You are clear, right?
Yes. By using the event. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's focus on the uh, what needs to be done for the string. Okay. So messaging have three part, two messaging have two things. Okay. First is message configuration. Second is message can purpose messaging implementation. Okay. So here we will be saying message config event aware event fire rules. Okay. Then you can see event creation. Okay. Where here we will be seeing message plugins payload generation and acknowledge of the alert. Okay. So are you clear how a policy center or billing center send a message from one system to another?
Yes. Yes. Correct.
Now
Messaging only,
let's
right?
see.
Using.
Yes. See, that is what the real process. Okay.
Yeah.
For example, if somebody asks you what is mean by messaging, who do not even know what is this. So if you want a layman to understand this, we can tell that. Okay. Very
Okay.
simple. There is an event like add or new or delete. You have a message will transfer from one system to another. How it is doing? You have to configure event fire rules like this, and it will execute everything. Once it is done, it will call create message and pass the payload. So the message will be created. Then it will go to the transfer plugin and it will call the send method here. It will call the send method. Then what will happen? It will send and then it will report acknowledge or report error. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, clear? Clear,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So now let's see how in Guidewire we do configure, we do process. Okay. So first of all, if you want to configure whatever I was explaining is concepts. Now there is a requirement for you to implement a messaging. Okay,
Yes.
clear? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
if anybody want you to configure a message, then what you have to do?
Okay.
Okay. Do
Okay.
you have your Guidewire Studio in front of you, right?
Yes.
So can you open messaging config XML? Can you see messaging config XML?
I said yes. I
Yeah.
can see.
Can you open that?
Yeah. Open.
Can you see an editor with plus and minus icon?
Yes. Left side.
Okay. So here, if you create an entry, administration, monitoring,
Monitoring.
messaging.
Yes.
Okay.
Message.
Okay. So if you create one entry here,
Hmm.
okay, like test messaging, okay, then and you have to provide an ID, okay, that I will come back, okay. Then transfer plugin is mandatory. Then if you want any explicit events, then you have to add it here, okay. What do you mean by explicit event? Hello,
Hello. Yeah. Yes, Karthik.
what do you mean by explicit events?
Other than add, edit, delete, if you want.
Exactly. Okay,
Yeah. Other.
so can you see an ID?
Yes.
Okay, this ID is nothing but it's a unique identifier, okay, which will tell you what is your message queue ID. Okay, why do we
Okay.
have to have an ID? Because as I said earlier, event fire rule will trigger all the events, correct?
Yes.
To avoid executing everything, you can restrict through message destination ID. Okay,
Okay.
so ID is mandatory. Then the
Okay.
ID should be 0 to 63. Okay,
Okay.
you are not supposed to create any message queue more than 63.
Okay.
Why? Because if you create an ID more than 63, Guidewire considers as out of the box message queue.
Okay.
Okay, so Guidewire is telling I am giving you 63 messages.
Yeah.
You can customize, but don't
Okay.
create more than 63. Okay,
Okay.
and also in a generic application, you cannot create more than 2 or 3 queues because already all the messaging are configured. So only you have to create 0 to 63. Okay,
Okay.
clear?
Yes.
Then you can provide an ID of 5, okay, or 3, whatever is. Then next is if you enable, then only the message will display here. Okay,
Okay.
okay, can you see it's not enabled email, that's why it's not here. But if you see bank account verification, it is enabled, that's why can you see it's enabled here. Okay,
Yes.
now can you see you have two events, bank account added and bank account changed?
Change.
But I told you these are all explicit events, right?
Yes.
Sorry, these are all implicit events, correct?
Implicit. Yeah, implicit.
Why
Yes.
they configured it here? Because they clearly don't want the rule to be triggered. So they delete rule to be triggered and they want to be more specific. So they create two events called account added and account changed. Okay?
Change.
They
Not
don't want the rule to be triggered for delete events.
delete. Okay.
They convert the implicit event to an explicit event. Okay?
Okay.
Clear? And
Yeah.
every message queue will have a chunk size, hold interval, shutdown
Mhm.
time, and max retry. Okay? So chunk size means in a chunk I can have 1 lakh record to be travel.
Okay.
Okay, so which means for one chunk I can have 1 lakh record. Okay, okay, clear.
Okay.
And if there is an error, automatically it will retry 3 times. Okay,
Okay.
after I suspended, I show you, right? Retry skip.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll show you today also. I'll suspend this and I will go to specific. I can change it to 0. Now I'll have to here. Right. Did I disable it? No. Okay, I will demo you. I will demo you at the end of the session. Okay,
Okay.
I think I have to restart the server. Then, by default, every messaging should have a transport plugin. Okay, you may or may not have request or reply plugin, but you must have transport plugin because transport plugin is responsible for you to send one message from one system to another. It has a
Okay.
method called send. This method is responsible to for you to send message from one system to another. Okay,
Okay.
clear?
Yes.
If you want to send a message from one system to another, you should have a transport plugin, and in the transport plugin, you have to override send method. Okay,
Okay.
then it will send the message from one system to another.
Another system.
But
Okay.
request and reply plugin are not mandatory. Okay,
Okay. Only
clear?
transport plugin is mandatory. Okay.
Yes. And if you want to trigger an event, you can trigger.
Event.
Okay? Now give me 1 second. I'll just close my studio and open. I don't know why. You have to just wait for 2 minutes. Okay? Let's go and create. And okay, got it. I'm adding. Okay.
Updating. Yeah.
Now once it is done, if you go and check in monitoring, you can see. Can you see? And one unsent message. You can
Yes.
notice it here. Okay. You can see
Yes.
what has been changed. Routing number have been changed. Okay.
Yes.
So how it is processing? So what will happen when you click on update or for that I just resume. Why we have come here is you have a retry option. Okay, as it is suspended, the retry option is not coming. Otherwise, it will come. Okay, just resume it. So we will have the retry option. You can do it. Okay. So it will automatically retry 3 times. Otherwise, it will automatically retry 3 times if there is
Three
an error.
times.
Otherwise, you have to manually go and retry it. Okay.
Okay.
So you can also set how many chunk it can send, and for one message to another message, what is the interval? Okay.
Okay.
And what is the retry interval? For every 1 second, these are all in milliseconds. Okay.
Yeah.
15,000 milliseconds means 15 seconds.
2 seconds.
Retry interval 1000 millisecond means 1 second.
1
Shutdown
second.
timeout 30
3
seconds.
seconds.
30
Okay.
seconds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So for each and every thread, you should send only one message. Okay.
Okay.
So which means you can have 1 lakh threads. Okay. Clear. So first step
Yes.
is create a message ID. Configure the ID 0 to 63. Name,
Okay.
transport plugin, chunk size, and everything. Once you have done this, and if you want, you can create an event. Otherwise, you don't require to do. Okay,
Okay.
clear?
Yes.
So once you've done this, what you have to do? The next step is you have to
Trans
create a plugin. Do you know how to create a plugin?
yes.
You have to go to plugins
Okay. Plugins.
and right click create plugin.
Yes.
When you create a
Plugin.
plugin, you have to make you have to implement an interface and you have to create a Gosu class for it, correct?
Course class. Yes.
So when you create a Gosu class, what you have to do is you have to implement message transport. Okay?
Transport. Okay.
Every transport plugin must implement
Message
message
transport.
transport. Same way, every message request will implement message request.
Transport.
Every reply plugin must implement message reply. Okay. So when you implement, you have to override all the methods. Okay.
Okay.
But very important, like in batch process, we have do work. Same way
To
in
work.
messaging,
Yeah.
you should implement send method, and inside the send method, you have to write all the logic. Okay.
Okay.
So can you write down all the steps? Step number 1. So we have first messaging config.
Need to add
Step
ID.
number
Yeah.
1 is create an entry in messaging config XML. Then what we will do, create ID. We call that as message destination ID transport plugin.
And events. Okay. Can add.
Okay, and events optional request and reply plugin optional. Rest all you don't require to do anything, but if you want to add the chunk size, but you are not, it is recommended, don't increase the chunk size. Okay, you
Okay.
can decrease
By def.
because think about it, 1 lakh chunk means 1 lakh thread. If one
Yes.
shot 1 lakh comes means think about it, how the application will be. So
Yeah.
don't increase it, but you can decrease it. Interval also, if you decrease the interval, it is better to decrease the interval. Okay, otherwise don't touch, because for example, 1 lakh chunk. Okay, if the interval is 10,000, then that's good enough. 15,000 is more than good enough,
Yeah.
because for every one message you are waiting for 15 seconds. Okay? Every 15
O-
seconds one message is traveling. So
Okay.
same way you can reduce to 10 seconds, but not more less than that. Okay, because otherwise that also leads the application collapse. Shutdown timeout
Okay.
you can change based on your things. Maximum retries 3 or 5, but don't increase more than 5, because that will not be working out. Because if it is not working for 3 times, it will not work. You have to fix it manually. Okay? Retry
Okay.
interval also you can change up to 5 seconds, not more than that. Okay. What do you mean by retry interval? Means for every retry, what is the interval it needs to take? Okay.
Take. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Then second step, create the transport
Transport.
plugins and implement interface for that. Okay, then what you have
Okay.
to do, create
Again.
create a Gosu create transfer plugin. I added there, right?
Yeah.
Create
Yeah.
a transport plugin class, plugin class, and implement
Message.
message transport and override send method. Okay.
Okay.
Step 3 is step 3 optional. Okay, create request comma reply plugins and implement create and implement request comma reply. Here we have to implement before before send and after send. But I have never ever used reply plugin. Okay, but you have a sample here. But I have
Okay.
plugin, but I have never ever used the reply plugin. Okay, but request plugin is there. I have used. Okay, you can
Okay.
use before send. But I will come to this. What is the
What
necessity
is?
for this? What is the necessity for this in the next tomorrow session? Okay,
Okay.
can you see even Guidewire do not have reply plugin?
Yeah.
Okay, then step 3 optional. Okay, step 4 call the events. Okay, how can you call? Entity dot add
Add
event
events.
name. Okay. Okay,
Fill
clear?
externally if you want to call.
Mm,
Yeah, this only
explicit
needed
event.
explicit.
Okay, clear?
Yeah.
Clear? Now let's see what is called transport plugins. These are all messaging config. Okay, let's talk about messaging implementation. Transfer plugin is nothing but send the method from one system to another system. Okay, request plugin. Before send, if we want to update the payload, we can call them as late binding. Okay. Reply blank. If you want to send a reply for the received messages, use the overridden methods to send reply. Okay, clear? See, these are all concepts. Okay, in tomorrow's session I will help you to connect all the dots. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So all this is done. Step 5 is go to the respective entity and add the event property if configure explicit events with connect. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, clear?
Yeah.
Clear?
Yes, sir.
Then implementation. Step 1. So where are we? We have all the plugins ready. We have all the events ready, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Open event fire rules. Why we have to open event fire rules?
Yeah.
Can you guess?
Yeah. We need to create event, right? For that.
Yes. To create a rule to process the message. Okay. Then step 2, create rule sets and map the destination ID to filter the message queue and filter by events if exist. Okay. Then step 3. What is step 3? Create, sorry, call the create message function. Okay. Maybe before that you can create payload, call the create message function and pass the payload. Okay, if you call this ODB, call the send method in the transport plugin. Step 5.
So call the create message function and send message, right?
I will show you. I will show you.
Okay.
I will show you. So till this I demoed you, right? Same way
Yes,
I will
yes.
demo here.
Okay.
Process the message in send method and use web service or plugins to send the message to external system. Step 7. If no exception, acknowledge. Else throw the error. Okay. So, okay, let's discuss this now. So far we created a message, we created a transport plugin, we created a transport method, and just overridden send method, correct?
Yes.
And if we have add event, we called it, otherwise we are not calling it, correct?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
what will happen if you call add event? Because that is the last step, correct?
Yes.
What will happen if you call this add event method? What will happen, it will, you are hitting an event, correct?
Yes.
So it will go to event fire rules.
Event file.
Then,
Yeah.
so
It will
what are we
search for
doing?
that.
We are calling bank account added. Okay. So
Yes.
it will verify where bank account added. It is with destination ID 13, correct?
Yes. 13.
So what will happen? It will go to the event fire rule. It will check whether the destination ID is 13 or not.
39.
Is it 13?
Okay. No.
Is it 13?
No, no, no. 14 it is.
Then it will skip. Then it will
Skip.
come here. Is it 13?
Yes. Yes.
Then it will come. It will start executing this action block. Okay. Then it
Okay.
will go inside. It will check, is this bank account entity? Yes or no?
Okay.
Yes. Correct. We
Yes.
are
Yes.
monitoring the bank account. Correct.
Yes.
It is bank account
Yes.
only. Then
Yeah.
what will happen? It will go inside again. It will check whether it is add bank account add or bank account changed. Then what will happen? it will go inside. Can you see it generates the payload here and call the create message? This is what the question you asked, right?
Yes.
I remember you
Payload.
asked a question, create
Yes.
message.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, you have to call this create message with the payload. The payload
Okay.
is nothing but the XML. Once you
Okay.
call create message, what will happen? It will come to the send method. In the send method, it will update the payload. They are updating the payload. Then what will happen? If there is no exception, it will call report acknowledge. Otherwise, it will report error.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So are you? So once it is done, it will go back to event fire rule. It will execute all the action blocks and it will end it here. Okay.
Okay.
Clear?
So payload is like what XML? You mentioned XML. Right?
That and all I will explain you in the next
Okay.
session. I don't want to confuse you today itself. Okay.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
if you look at here, can you see there are 4 stages? Can you see? We are still here. Stage 3 and stage 4 I will explain you tomorrow.
Okay.
Can you see?
Good. Yeah.
Are you
Pre
able to
send and
understand what is this?
yes.
So these two we will explain. Okay. Generate payload is nothing but you have to create XMLs. I will tell you how to do that. Okay. Thank you so much, sir.